Well, nobody's explaining all the sewage being dumped across America. Apparently, them government-owned sewers are a big embarrassment to people like Andy Cuomo and his brother Chris and those total morons at CNN, ABC, Fox, PBS, and NBC. You see, ladies and gentlemen, all across America, from Portland, Maine to Los Angeles, New York City, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, all over the country, massive sewage dumping into the environment occurs every day. Billions and 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 you get the idea. Billions and billions of gallons of raw infectious human sewage gets spewed all across America every day by the big campaign contributors. The American Realtors Association, people like Donald Trump and all of his big buildings, and people like the Cuomos and all the big contributors to the Democratic Party and to the Republican Party. Their sewage is spewed everywhere. Now, a good case in point is up at Lake George, New York, up there on Millionaires Row. All the millionaires that live around the queen of America's septic tanks. They don't want to talk about how their sewage and their septic systems leach into the groundwater. Through the fissures and cracks in the bedrock, all that sewage winds up in the springs that are feeding the lake. And it's poisoning Lake George. And they've been flushing Lake George into Lake Champlain for decades to get rid of all that sewage. Dilution is the solution to pollution. Ask that jackass running New York State Environmental Conservation, Basil Sagos, and that lying sack of manure, David Wick, at the Lake George Park Commission, Tom West, the lawyer at the Lake George Association. They know damn well that a good old Lake George, the septic tank, has been being flushed for decades. Ladies and gentlemen, sewage. It's full of millions of viruses and bacteria that carry infectious human disease. And apparently, Governor Cuomo and Letitia James, the Attorney General for the state of New York, man, they don't want to talk about what's going on up on the Great Lakes, or in the St. Lawrence Seaway, or in the Hudson River, or New York Harbor, where Manhattan dumps huge amounts of sewage every day, all into the harbor and into the rivers and into the Long Island Sound. Vast amounts of sewage. And then, of course, you got all them garbage barges full of viruses and rats and bacteria and disease. So I got a message to the American people. You tell them to take their COVID-19 protocols and jam them right up their sewage-filled butts. Because until Governor Cuomo answers why in the hell DEC is permitting and licensing the dumping of sewage into the public waterways, that stuff's full of COVID. Yep, the coronavirus is excreted in excrement from the human body and wee-wee from pee-pee. And then, of course, it cultures in the environment like a giant petri dish. It spreads and it multiplies. So, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Tell Donald Trump that he needs to quit grabbing pussies and running his big dumbass mouth at those stupid-ass Nazi rallies that he has. Those rallies were invented by Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump, just in case you were you didn't know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. And remember, the government sewers are spreading the death. The government sewers are spreading the infections. Hasta la vista, God bless, and you betcha we're coming back.